This is the teaching broadcast of Time Out with Brian Rogers. Now, let's join Brian with today's word.
Are you up for the challenge? Hello, I'm Brian Rogers, and thank you for tuning in to the broadcast today. So glad to have you with me as we dive into God's holy word and as we continue our series on the God of miracles. I asked the question, are you up to the challenge? Now, Brian, exactly what do you mean, Brian? Am I up to the challenge? You know, the Bible tells us in the book of Revelation that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, right? That when we testify about the goodness of God, something takes place. And what is that? It's overcoming. We're going to continue our time together about the God of miracles. And the challenge that I'm issuing you today, asking, are you up to the challenge, is very simply this. I believe, as the Bible instructs us, that when we begin to testify and go back down memory lane, and we begin to recall what God has done for us in the past, looking at those miracles that God has done in our life, what it does, it encourages our faith. That's right. It encourages our faith, and not only does it encourage our faith, it also encourages the one that you're testifying, an eyewitness account about what God has done for you. Those testimony times, I'm telling you, they just bless people, and in return, it blesses the one who's sharing the testimony. Let me give you an example. Just this past Sunday, at my church, we gathered around the altar in intercessory prayer. My cousin last week had a stroke, only 55 years old. And then on Saturday, he took a turn for the worse. And they had to put him in ICU on the vent. Was not looking good at all. Now, my cousin had gone through some great challenges with this recent stroke. But he had aspirated, went into the ICU unit, and things were not looking good. He was not responding. And then we gathered around the altar on Sunday morning in our church. We anointed and we believed and we called his name in faith, knowing that God hears the prayers of his people. And here's what happened. On Sunday afternoon, my mom and dad went to go visit my cousin in Raleigh at Wake Medical Center. And when they walked in the room, as stated, for 24 hours, he had not responded. When they walked in, apparently he heard their voice and he opened his eyes. My mom then gave me a call and began to share with me what had happened. And I said, please put me on speakerphone. I want to pray for him. And so she put me on speakerphone and I said, hey, Craig, it's Brian. Man, God has got you, buddy. You keep on keeping on, brother. We've been praying for you. And we began to pray. And I prayed over that telephone as my mom and dad were there, as well as his wife, Karen. And we prayed. And here's what happened. It's amazing. After 24 hours of not responding, at the conclusion of the prayer, I said, buddy, God's got it. And he began to shake his head, indicating that he heard and he agreed. You see, God is moving. He still has a ways to go, but listen to this. He's came off the vent and he's going home this week. The point I'm trying to make is God is faithful. God is faithful to his word. There's nothing too hard for God. So are you up to the challenge? Share your testimony today of the miracle working power of God. Hey, until tomorrow, remember today to take time out for God because God always has time for you.
This has been Time Out with Brian Rogers. Time Out is a listener-supported broadcast made possible by you, our faithful partners. If you'd like to learn more about how you can help support our ministry, write to Brian in care of Brian Rogers Ministries, Post Office Box 31074, Greenville, North Carolina 27833. Or you can visit us online at timeoutradio.com. That's timeoutradio.com. Or phone us at 252-355-6004. Thank you for taking the time to respond, and join us again next time as we take time out to study from the Word of God.